to Gunsmoke and Bullshit, a series devoted to finding out what the fuck really happened in American history. And I'll be your host for this here episode. My name is David Crockett. I reckon y'all probably heard of me as Davy, a nickname I never cared for, especially when spoken by every rube, yokel, and hayseed this side of the native inland sea. I was one of 9 children, born just 10 years after them rich white fellers on the East Coast declared independence from them rich white fellers overseas. Yonder, down round Limestone Creek where I grew up, nobody had a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out of. My kin was so poor we couldn't afford to pay attention. While still a boy, my daddy sat me down. He said, "David, the farm's a mess. The crops have failed. My businesses are bankrupt. They're going to foreclose on the property. So I sold you into servitude to pay some bills." Oh, my daddy, bless his heart, couldn't find his own ass with both hands in his back pocket. Well, there I was, 12 years old, an indentured servant. Felt like I'd been ate by a wolf and shit over a cliff. As far as I could tell, if you was white, you was either a poor sharecropper, a poor indentured servant, or just plain poor. If you was black, you was enslaved. And if you was red, well, your days were numbered. Mind you, there were some rich white folks who did very well for themselves because they owned most of the land by hook or by crook. And they grew most of the tobacco and the hemp and the sugar cane and, of course, king cotton on the backs of all them enslaved folks, sharecroppers, and indentured servants, all of it upon an ocean of native blood. That's just the way it was. 'Tweren't by accident, neither. They've been selling a bill of goods to folks like me and my kin for generations, since before this country was a country, and right up till today. Come on to the new world, land of opportunity, freedom and free land, bring the whole dang family. Then we end up doing all the work, and them rich folks swoop in and reap all the benefits. That there is called settler colonialism. You can write that one down, boys and girls. We was born to be fodder for the nation's cannons. We was stuffed in, then scattershot, left naked, abandoned. We was lied to and spit on, demeaned and ignored, while we chopped down all the trees for them and fought their bloody wars. They called us scallywag, degenerate, mud-eater, swamp trotter, white trash, redneck, hillbilly, cracker, squatter. But from out of the Smokies came a liar and a fake, who rose to be the most famous man in these here United States. I reckon I fooled them. I weren't about to be no fodder for nobody's cannon. Taught myself how to read and write. At the age of 17, bought my first Tennessee long rifle. And in no time at all, I could knock a June bug off a mule's ass at 100 yards. Learned how to track bear from the Chickasaw and the Choctaw Pretty soon, I was killing bars 6 ways from Sunday. Killed 105 in 1 year's period. Andy Jackson taught me how to kill Injuns in the Creek War, Brits in the War of 1812, and Spaniards in Seminole when we went down yonder to Florida. We done some terrible things to the great Cherokee Nation. I'm plumb tore up about it. Sticks in my throat like a hair in a biscuit. I reckon some of y'all might be a-thinking that all just sounds like so many other folks. The nameless disappeared into history. So how come we remember Davy Crockett and not them others? 'Cause the Lord had bestowed upon me a gift. I had a God-given talent that made me special. I could bullshit like nobody else. I could bullshit the bullshitter's son. I was a true bullshit artist. Why, I could make Edna May Givens tiptoeing across Mulberry Creek seem like Moses parting the Red Sea. What was totally unexpected and unintended on my part was that the whoppers that I told, the tall tales that I plain just made up, the stories about things that never happened, well, that people would actually believe them. And after a while, they was accepted as fact. That's when I learned the most important lesson of the time I've been on this earth and a foundation of this here country of ours. If you can tell the story right, with drama, humor, action, and adventure, well, it don't matter a coon dog's ass if it ain't true. That, and most folks is dumber than a sack of rocks. Well, pretty soon, everybody was talking about Davy Crockett. There's even newspaper articles about the bear-killing mountain man. There's even a show on Broadway, the most popular play of 1831, and a bigger load of bullshit the world had never seen. I had nothing to do with it, and everybody thought it was about me. And who am I to dispel a lie? Bullshit got me to the Tennessee state legislature and eventually to the Congress of these here United States. And for a moment, humble David Crockett of Limestone Creek, Tennessee, was the most famous man in America. And that's the God's honest truth, boys and girls. And who could imagine, just a few short years from that moment, the most famous man in America would die a terrible death in Texas behind some pissant wall alongside 200 cutthroats, murderers, rapists, slave traders, deserters, fugitives of justice, and grifters and con men. All of us fighting on stolen land to preserve slavery. 24 years before the Civil War. Thank them old white men who wrote them history books, made heroes and legends out of scumbags and crooks. And thank God for Hollywood. Hollywood made the vicious, bad, and ugly look
pretty goddamn good.
Thank them fools who run the schools and teach our kids not to think. They shovel out that bullshit till the classrooms really stink. And thank God for mom and dad, grandparents too, who pass along the fairy tales of the great red, white, and blue. What are we supposed to do when you can't tell false from true? 'Cause history ain't pretty and there ain't no happy ends. If you forget about mistakes you made, you make the same mistake again. Thank them singers who tell their stories in song. Who cares if they're not accurate? No, the facts are wrong. And thank God for all the cash, shitloads of cash, that the fellers make from singing lies and covering up the past. What does all this mean to me? I thought the truth would set me free. But history ain't pretty and there ain't no happy end. If you forget about mistakes you made, you make the same mistake again. Thank the old white men who wrote them history books, made heroes and legends out of scumbags and crooks. And thank God for Hollywood. Hollywood made the vicious, bad, and ugly look pretty goddamn good. Made the vicious, bad, and ugly look pretty goddamn good. Wee boys and girls, I reckon y'all be fixin' to pitch a hissy fit with a tail on it if I don't tell you all about the Alamo. But boys and girls, it seems like we plumb run out of time. So if you're still interested in hearing about the history of this here land of ours, you best be keeping an eye out for the next episode of Gunsmoke and Bullshit. Y'all come back now. Here. Hit it, boys!